Be honest, how many times have you sat there thinking, I still don't have an art style? Like you're missing something that all the real artists already figured out. As someone who, in the past, has spent countless nights trying to find a personal style, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't exist. Let me explain. I used to believe that if I searched hard enough, I'd just stumble across my true style one day, but what I learned is that's not really how it works. Today, I'm going to be explaining what I believe art style really is and try to convince you to basically stop worrying about it with these 5 points. I do know that this is a much colder take than what it was a few years ago, or maybe I just wasn't online much back then, I don't know. Your art style doesn't just appear one day like some treasure that you dig up like it's the One Piece or something. Every sketch, every piece you admire that you see online or in person, and every experiment adds up to the DNA of your art style. Maybe the One Piece is a bad example of treasure that you just dig up because, well, it's not. Dude faced trials and tribulations for this thing, and when he does eventually find it, it would have been the battles, the tests, the people he met on the way there that helped him find it in the end. Sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, the journey being the destination. I hope Oda doesn't pull the real One Piece was the friends we made along the way ending. It's just an example, okay? So my first point is absorb a lot of inspiration and slowly weave it into something that feels like yours. I'm sure basically all of us have artists that we want to draw like, right? Well, none of them would have found their way of drawing quickly. And not only that, their style is constantly evolving too. Many artists look back at their work from about 5 or so years ago and barely recognize it, and that's normal. As you grow up, your skills, interests, and influences will shift and your style will evolve with them. So here's my personal example. So back then being 2017, I drew a lot of Undertale stuff, and my main inspiration was this artist, Walking Melon's AAA. She drew fan art that was crazy for the time, and well, I wanted to draw like her. And now look, 8 years later, if my interests stayed the exact same, maybe I could have drawn like this, but as I grew up, I got more interested in anime and manga, so I draw like this now. So I'd argue that a single final art style doesn't really exist. Your interests will change, you as a person will change, so I would think of your work more as an evolving timeline. Here's another example, pro mangaka Tite Kubo. This is quite a popular image you might have seen, what Ichigo looked like in the early days versus what he looks like more recently. So yeah, even the pros are learning and changing their work every day. The things you can't do perfectly, shaky lines, proportions that feel a bit off, odd habits and the such, these can actually become a part of your unique identity as an artist. Sometimes what you see as mistakes are what others see as your signature. Easiest example of this is probably Naruto. We got all the big three in this video, I just realized. He couldn't do the one-hand Rasengan like the others could, right? So he adapted. He got his clones to act as his other hand, and well, yeah, it became one of his signatures. He did learn how to use it with one hand in the end, but yeah, you get my point. Of course, improvement is always possible, but don't erase everything that feels imperfect. Work with those quirks instead of against them, and they might end up becoming what makes your art stand out. This one is more of a side note, and again, I mention this all the time. You can draw whatever you want. Don't let this random dude on YouTube that still can't draw hands after 8 or 9 or so years tell you exactly what to draw. What I found is that if you're technically skilled enough, you can mimic a certain style very well. Obviously, I've seen a lot of Jujutsu Kaisen fan art that looks exactly like Gege's art style, and they're awesome, of course. And this can be useful for study or client work where you need a specific style, but since this is an art style video, I'll say this. Just strictly copying won't reflect the full range of your personality. Your own personal style will come faster, in my opinion, if you let your natural tendencies come through. So even when you're making fan art, let your quirks shine through. Try not to be too stiff when drawing, as Bruce Lee said, be like water. If you want to just draw exactly how it's drawn by another artist, that's completely fine. You can just ignore this one entirely. These tips are more for those who hope to develop their own, more unique styles. Ironically, in my experience, the harder you chase an art style, the longer it actually takes to develop one. I was trying to force my art to look like One Piece, I was trying to force my art to look like JJK. I liked it at first, but it ended up just hindering my growth in the end. Basically, it just made me too comfortable. JJK, of course, has that really rough line art style, and when I started doing that, I just did rough line art without knowing how to truly make it look good or why it looked good, which, well, resulted in just messy works with no substance. So draw more, experiment more, live more. Bro, I found this place next to the deer park. That was the gate. That shit is already colossal. And I'm seeing some kind of... What? How big is that? Okay, I have to go inside. Okay, you're about to see my reaction too. Yeah. Bro, how are they building this back in the day, bro? At the end of the day, your art style isn't something you stumble across like a hidden gem. It's the sum of everything you've drawn, loved, and struggled with. It shifts and grows as you do, shaped just as much by your influences as by your mistakes. Yes, you can technically force yourself into a look, but that won't help you make original looking stuff. Again, nothing wrong with that, just saying for the people who want to make original looking stuff. Instead of chasing after this imaginary final form, just focus on creating. Every sketch, every experiment, every flaw is a step towards the style that will always be yours. So the big lie that your art style is hiding somewhere out there. In reality, it's been with you this entire time and will be forever. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching till the end as always. Sorry for not uploading last week. Whenever I almost get to the end of a chapter for my series, I just start hyper-focusing on that for a bit. Thank you for 2,000 subs. It was just a couple weeks ago when I got 1,000, and seeing this kind of growth is just nuts, you know? And now that so many people like my videos enough to like and sub so much, I sort of feel sort of an obligation or a duty to make more entertaining videos, something more than just talking about general art stuff. If you guys have any suggestions on what you want to see or any tips on what kind of content art YouTubers do nowadays, please do let me know. I don't really watch art YouTubers much anymore. I definitely should be, considering, you know, I'm still a very mid-tier artist, I consider myself. But yeah, do let me know what you guys want to see. I owe at least a consideration of your ideas with all the support you guys are giving me. No pressure though, of course. If you enjoy what I put out now, then that's awesome. But yeah, that's about it for the video. If you want to see how I got addicted to drawing, please take a look at this video, and a like and a sub would be greatly appreciated as always. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.